In the summer of 1848, as Ireland starved under the Great Famine, a band of poets, farmers and dreamers dared to defy an empire. Why did the young islanders risk everything in a rebellion doomed to fail? Their story, buried by history, burns with passion and purpose. Welcome to On This Day in History, where we unearth the past's hidden truths. This is the Forgotten Rebellion of 1848, a 10-minute journey into Ireland's fight for freedom. Hit subscribe and ring the bell to join us before we march with the young Irelanders. Like this video and subscribe to On This Day in History. Let's uncover a rebellion that changed Ireland forever. In 1845, a potato blight struck Ireland, triggering the Great Famine. By 1848, over 1 million had died, and 1 million more fled per the Irish Famine by Peter Gray, 1995. British policies, exporting grain while Ireland starved, fueled rage. Tenant farmers, evicted by landlords, faced death or exile. Amid this despair, the Young Ireland movement, born in the 1830s, called for rebellion. Inspired by the French Revolution and Romantic nationalism, Young Ireland, led by intellectuals like William Smith O'Brien and poets like Ellen O'Connell, sought cultural revival and independence. Their newspaper, The Nation, spread nationalist fervor, but the famine's scale pushed them toward action. Farmers, not just elites, joined, driven by hunger and injustice. The famine killed 20% of Ireland's population, per a 2023 Journal of Irish History study. British laissez-faire policies prioritized markets over relief, with grain exports rising 15% during 1846-47. A 2022 Irish Studies Review analysis shows tenant farmers, often illiterate, were radicalized by Young Ireland's oral poetry recitals, bridging class divides. Famine coffin ships had mortality rates up to 30% per a 2024 National Museum of Ireland, yet some farmers stayed to fight, inspired by Young Ireland's promise of land reform. The famine wasn't just a crisis, it was a call to arms. For Ireland's poorest, the rebellion was a desperate stand for dignity against a world that abandoned them. On July 29, 1848, in Ballingarry, South Tipperary, the Young Islanders struck. William Smith O'Brien, a Protestant aristocrat turned rebel, led a ragtag force of 100 farmers and poets against British police. Women like Ellen O'Connell, a poet whose verses fueled defiance, were the rebellion's heart, rallying tenants with words sharper than swords, per the Young Ireland movement by Richard Davis, 1987. The rebellion faltered fast. A 2-hour gunfight ended when British reinforcements arrived, arresting O'Brien. Yet, women like O'Connell smuggled messages and hid rebels, their roles long erased from mainstream accounts. Her poem, The Famine Year, captured the uprising spirit, read aloud in secret gatherings. O'Brien's letters reveal internal rifts. Some wanted reform, others full independence. A 2023 Women's History Review study uncovers women's logistics roles, with figures like O'Connell organizing food for rebels. The uprising's failure, with only 10 casualties, masked its cultural impact. As the nation's circulation doubled post-rebellion, many rebels wielded pikes, farm tools turned weapons, due to scarce firearms, per a 2024 Irish Archaeological Journal. These symbolized their resolve, forged in desperation. The Young Islanders were no soldiers, but their hearts burned for freedom. Their stand, though brief, was a cry for a nation's soul, led by those history forgot. The Young Islander Rebellion failed militarily, but its spirit lived in words. Poets like Ellen O'Connell and Thomas Davis turned the nation into a beacon of nationalism, inspiring later uprisings like the 1916 Easter Rising. Their work fueled Ireland's cultural revival, blending famine's pain with hope, per Irish Literature and Rebellion by Terry Eagleton, 1998. The rebellion's failure scattered young Irelanders. O'Brien was exiled to Tasmania. O'Connell fled to America. Yet, their writings reached Irish diaspora, raising funds for future revolts. By 1850, the nation's readership hit 20,000, a spark for global Irish nationalism. A 2022 Journal of Victorian Culture study shows young Ireland's poetry shaped Irish identity, with phrases like Ireland's soul entering common use. Revisionist historians like Christine Keneally argue the rebellion's small scale belies its impact, as it radicalized tenant farmers, paving the way for the Land League in 1879. Young Irelanders wore green ribbons as secret signals, a practice adopted by later nationalists, per a 2024 Irish Museum of History. The rebellion's words were seeds, planted in famine's ashes, growing into Ireland's fight for independence. Its poets gave voice to a silenced nation. The rebellion's collapse brought harsh reprisals. O'Brien and leaders were sentenced to death, later commuted to exile. British martial law enacted via the 1848 Crime and Outrage Bill crushed dissent, with 1,000 arrests by 1849, per Ireland's Famine Rebellion by Christine Keneally, published in 2009. The famine raged on, killing 500,000 more by 1852, yet the rebellion's failure taught resilience. Tenant farmers, inspired by Young Ireland, formed secret societies resisting evictions. Women like O'Connell smuggled food to prisoners, their courage a quiet rebellion against oppression. A 2023 History Ireland study shows the rebellion's exiles in America funded the Fenian Brotherhood, launching raids on British Canada by 1866. Revisionist perspectives like those in Europe in 1848, published in 2001, argue the uprising's small scale reflected strategic missteps, but amplified Ireland's global voice. A 2023 Tipperary dig uncovered a farmer's letter describing the rebellion as our last hope, offering rare insight into tenant motives per Archaeology Ireland. The young Irelanders paid dearly, but their sacrifice lit a fire. Their story asks us, what do we fight for when hope seems lost? What moves you about the young Irelanders, their courage, their poetry, or their defiance? Vote in our poll below. What drove them most? A. Famine's desperation. B. Nationalist ideals. C. Tenant rights. D. Cultural revival. Share your thoughts in the comments. How do their struggles echo today's fights for justice? Let's hear you. The young Irelanders' fight against systemic injustice mirrors today's movements for equality and self-determination. Share this video to honor their forgotten voices. History's lessons live in us. The young Irelanders remind us that even small acts of resistance can shape a better world. In Ballingary's fields, the young Irelanders fell, but their dream endured. Their poetry, their pikes, their green ribbons lit a fuse that burned through decades, igniting the 1916 Easter Rising and Ireland's 1922 independence. Across the world, their words inspired nationalists from India to Latin America, proving a small rebellion could shake empires. This is their legacy, a fire kindled in famine, blazing for freedom. The young Irelanders teach us that no fight is too small, no voice too quiet. Their courage lives in every stand against injustice, urging us to act. The forgotten rebellion of 1848 reminds us that history's smallest sparks can light the greatest fires. The young Irelanders' fight for justice echoes in today's battles for fairness and freedom. And on this day in history, we uncover these stories to inspire and inform. Like, share, and subscribe to join us in exploring the past. Next, we'll dive into Teaser: The Silk Road's Hidden Heroes. Stay curious, stay inspired. The journey continues.